to still stay on the problem, and maybe from there we'll now gradually get into the solution. And I think my major concern will be how sustainable farming can actually come in that will help the average Nigerian. So I think from there I'll now want to come back to what you talked about earlier, where you mentioned the fact that some natural happenings can actually affect the farmer. Take for instance the flooding, the drought, lack of water, maybe sometimes sunlight. You cannot be waiting for the rainy season before you get planting and all of that. With all of these mentioned and put together, can an average farmer in Nigeria actually have what it takes to say I have sustainable farming? Is it possible ever?
Yes, it should be possible, but I want to say that 90%, and this is my personal statistics now, 90% of farmers in Nigeria are gambling. Yes, you have good seasons, you have bad seasons. Your projections can never be 100% correct. Why? Because you do not have the complementing factors. You can come in and have all the inputs, and then labor is messing you up. You can come in, have all your projections. You went to either the bank or your funder or your investor gives you a particular amount of money. You make all your calculations, and then all of a sudden there's a spike in prices of fertilizers. There's a spike in last year. So many people had monies in their hands, they could not access fertilizer. They couldn't access fertilizer. We had people booking for fertilizers 6 weeks, 8 weeks ahead, right? So to answer your question, because you've used the word sustainable, and sustainable goes beyond immediately. Sustainable talks about long-term ability to be able to continue profiting or benefiting, let me use the word benefiting, from your agricultural enterprise. It is a long hoop. It is a long hoop. I have been a farmer. I'm not just an agricultural development. I've been a farmer right from 2015, right? And I found in different regions of Nigeria, and I have noticed firsthand these challenges. There are farmers that are thriving, but I want to let you know that it is not something that any random person can just wake up and go into agriculture and ceteris paribus is having sustainable agriculture. There are a whole lot of challenges that are facing farmers.
So that reminds me of the federal government's new initiative where it launched the readiness assessment for the Nigerian Farmers for Health scheme. It's supposed to be one of the most ambitious soil management. We have talked about data collection and soil, where you go from state to state to ascertain the quality of soil that state or local government or community has. So it determines and informs on the kind of products that would thrive there. We've been talking about this for several years now, and again the federal government has launched this. You just mentioned how farmers are gambling because you go there and praying that this soil is going to be good for your yams or cassava or whatever it is. We've seen several plans like this and initiatives like this that the federal government rolls out. What gives you confidence that this will be the one that would, actually see the light of day? Remember, you were in the country at the time. I don't know if you remember things that happened before you traveled, when when there was a state of emergency announced. And we thought there would be
6 months into
6 months into this administration.
Yes.
Yeah. And we thought there would be expedited efforts to see, but we didn't. And here is the launch of this. There's the palm oil initiative as well. There's the gender agriculture for gender initiative, something like that. There are several initiatives being churned out. Fantastic one. It's in the book, but
Joy, you want to say something? Joy,
please. You would rather
be
not
very. I'm not a politician. I know you're used to interviewing politicians. You know, the way you framed your question, you say, what gives me the confidence? As if I have confidence.
As a farmer, you're right. Do you even have the confidence?
Yes, I think that should be the first question, because 2 years ago, the government actually brought out a particular, because I've been someone, if you remember, most times when I come to your show, I clamor for data, Nigerians data, farmers data, and all of that. And then the government started a project where they wanted to take data of real farmers, go and show us your land, we'll do GPS this, and it sounded all interesting and all fun and all of that. And it was a very beautiful initiative, because the moment you have the data of farmers, of real farmers, know where the farms are and all of that, you will be able to give targeted interventions. You will be able to know if you go to Akwa Ibom State, is it fertilizers they need, or is it chicken feed, or is it fish feed?
Absolutely.
What do they need, right? But you find out that the first problem started 2 months into that project, where even the people, they call them enrollers or something like that, were not being paid for going into the farm.
And then they
And then the first 2 enrollers that approached me and were telling me, see, Oga, if you give us this amount of money, we can say you have 20 hectares, we can say you have 50 hectares, we will just allot 1 bush to you and all of that. And then I just knew that this project has failed on its flat. So I really do not know. I have never been in government, and yes, I've never been at that level of government to really understand why these projects are rolled out without sustainability or without a deep dive into the plans, because most of these issues are issues that I'm thinking as someone that handles projects.
It's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. Are things that we plan ahead of. Why are our enrollers already 2-3 months into the program not being paid? Why are we having glitches in the GPS tracking system? Why are you not working with the state government to identify the farmers? Why are you sending independent random enrollers into communities to get to portfolio farmers and all of that? So, coming back to your question about the different schemes, there's the I've forgotten the name of the scheme. I think a renewed farmers' money scheme that was generated, where farmers are getting 300,000 naira. And time again, when there was Agnes loan a few years back, when there was so many loan schemes, alcohol waiver scheme and it has failed flat on its face, because farmers get this money and use it to pay school fee. Farmers get this money and use it to marry new wives. Farmers get this money.
That be a bad thing, but go ahead.
It is a bad thing, because it is a bad thing.
It's like saying I am.
How is marrying a new wife? Especially with feminism now, those days where you marry a new wife and you have hope that she will follow you to the farm.
I think Joy has
The first century
those days now, you marry a
century wife are like, you know what, you do your thing.
You do your thing. But if she joins you to the farm, you have to pay her.
Yeah.
Most times even more than you would pay an outside labor.
You've been having too much engagement with Gen Z young ladies, but
Gen Z, you would even find out that even the millennials and the boomers are catching up with the new trend, because if you notice the issues going on currently, it's not necessarily Gen Z. The millennials are really, in fact, they are taking it and like I've missed a lot, and they are catching up so far. So you wonder why government is still giving out 300,000 to farmers. 300,000 does not even lease you a farmland, let alone buy you chemicals. It does not even plant maize. So you, as a farmer, any real farmer that collects 300,000 will know that putting it on the soil is a waste of time. You will just go and buy keke or buy whatever. You cannot even afford keke. So you find out that you now sit to wonder, as a private individual, as someone coming in from the private industry sector, how do government sit to frame these projects that they fall flat on its face? So that is why I had to bring your attention to you saying what gives me the confidence. I really don't have any confidence up until I see the last milestone being achieved by this project. They are laudable, their concepts are usually very beautiful, and actually are problems or interventions that would go a long way.
Absolutely.
In solving some of the problems we are having in agriculture.
Absolutely.
But the question now is in the implementation. Do we implement these things to the full value of the project? So I really don't have a confidence in it, so I won't speak to if it will work or not.